I'm not actually an anthropologist yet. I'm a student in the anthropology department at Harvard, and I focus on archaeology. But the kinds of things that students in the department do, and that ultimately real full-time anthropologists do, are a lot of ethnographic research. We spend a lot of time in the communities that we're studying, talking to people, doing interviews. As an archaeologist, I spend a lot of time in the field, excavating, just digging, and also a lot of time in the lab, cleaning artifacts and sorting them and classifying them and stuff. And that's the same for anthropologists too. If you spend a lot of time in the field interviewing people, you also need to spend a lot of time back home, listening to the interviews, transcribing stuff, translating stuff. So there's a lot of sort of detail work involved, but then ultimately you process what you found to write sort of like an explanation of your findings so that other people can like have access to it. The best thing I think about being in anthropology is that you get to spend a lot of time working with other people, and so you're not studying like these inanimate objects so much as you're focusing on like ways people interact with each other and like interact with the world. So you get to spend a lot of time talking, and a lot of time just like finding out how people see the world and how they use the world. For archaeologists, there's a lot of like what tools are there, what supplies materials do you use in your life, and I love that you're dealing with people. The worst thing about it is the data analysis. To be honest, like there have been days when I've been doing research where I just sit in the lab with a toothbrush and little tiny like pieces of pottery and like scrub them so that it's clear what's on them and like what they look like. And it's some drudgery. Ultimately, it's for a cool cause, but there's a lot of really boring work when you're cleaning things, and so that's definitely the worst thing about archaeology. But you know, there are always such cool moments when you're excavating that totally make up for it, that you find. I was on a dig this past summer where we found a little piece of a doll's face, little like broken porcelain head, right? So it was like just this part of the face, and we looked at it, we couldn't figure out what it was. We were kind of like rubbing the dirt off it, kind of all standing around in our boots. Somebody was like, "This is cool," and when we realized it was like a doll's eye socket, it was like super creepy, but also super awesome. We were so excited. I think the way that anthropology and archaeology contribute to society, it's a little abstract because you're not like fixing people's lives the way you are as a doctor, or like bringing things to them that they don't know as a teacher would be, but you're preserving history. It's like kind of the same way that genealogy work is important. You're going back and reclaiming things that could be lost, and saving them and preserving them in ways that wouldn't be done if not for you. And ultimately that is a teaching thing, that like by putting stuff in museums and by like writing books where you like publish interviews that you've done, then other people can have access to that knowledge that you've found. Obviously, I'm still a student, so I haven't qualified for anything quite yet. But the way I got interested in the anthropology department, like in this field, is just through taking random classes at college. I wasn't planning to do this work, and I just started taking classes that looked interesting to me, and spend a lot of time talking to the professors, which is the greatest thing. Like, even if you love the books in a class, it's not going to help you get excited about a field nearly as much as just talking to the professors, because they know so much and they can see what's meaningful to you in it. So I just became really great friends with these amazing archaeologists, and through them other anthropology professors, and they encouraged me to major in it, so I did. And the things that I've done while a student to help me qualify for jobs is I've gotten a lot of practical experience digging. So I know how to excavate, I know how to draw plan diagrams. I know how to clean artifacts. And I've also spent a lot of time doing student jobs, like part-time. When I'm not in class, I work on museum exhibits. And I work with graphic designers at university museums to help plan the text that's going to go on walls, the ways objects are going to be arranged in cases, or if we're going to build some new structure to hold them, if there are going to be certain pictures around them or behind them, if we're going to like print out giant quotes to put up on the wall, all that kind of thing. Exhibit design is hopefully a practical skill that will mean I can work in museums and continue to do anthropology after I graduate. So the nice thing about anthropology is that it talks about every part of the human experience. So the best thing you can do is keep paying attention to things. If there's a specific culture that you're interested in, like if it's the Aztecs or anything, the Neanderthals, cave painting communities, then like read about them, look at images from archaeology, excavations of their sites, stuff like that. If it's a still living culture, go to museums, go visit places where that culture still exists. And you can exercise all kinds of anthropologist skills in your own life. That there are all kinds of cultures that anthropologists would study immediately around you. The culture of middle school, the culture of the church, the culture of people living in northern Florida. Like all those things are totally valid research subjects. And so think about why people act the way they do, why people buy the things they do, why certain conversation phrases always happen in the same order. Those kinds of things are things anthropologists are really interested in. And you have access to all of them right now. So being able to look at the way life is lived with the eyes of an outsider and to be able to say, why is this happening the way it is a really useful skill for an anthropologist. And you can start practicing that right now. So if you have other questions about anthropology or archaeology, you should get in touch with me. I'm sad I couldn't be there tonight, but my mom has my email address, and I would love to talk to you more about why this is an amazing thing to study and a cool field to work in. So let me know, and good luck.